Disc golf is for everyone. The young, the old, the meek, and the strong. Though the world is welcome, only one can rise above the all.
Hello and welcome to the front nine of round 2 at the PDGA Professional Disc Golf World Championships presented by LL Bean. We're swapping courses today. We're going to be at the more open course of the two, Fox Run, where our lead card will be playing disc golf in the wind.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
I'm Madison Walker.
We're two hot geese, honk, and we're obviously on point today. I would like to say if I ever, write a novel, Kristin Tattar is top of my list to narrate that for the audiobook. I just think that would be lovely.
Yes, it's one of the most soothing intros I've ever heard, including every single one that Erika and I have done.
Oh my gosh. So Fox Run is ranked number 7 in the world. Brewster is number 4. So to have two courses next to each other be in the top 10 in the entire country is unbelievable. Thanks to UDISC for all the stats. We are going to see some pretty intense golf, definitely some swirly wind out there, but a much prettier day. No rain. Spoiler alert.
Yes, Kristin Tattar, she's first place in everything after round 1. 74% of her drives in the fairway, scrambling 100% of the time, which doesn't happen very often.
Valerie Mandujano, we watched her take a turkey in the last 3 holes to secure her spot. She's first landing in circle 2 in regulation at 67%, second circle 1 in regulation, and third in circle 2 putting at 50%.
Kat Mertsch, first place in Circle 1 X putting. 100% of her putts went in yesterday, birdieing 50% of the holes she's playing and finding herself at least in Circle 1 44% of the time. Whoa.
And rounding out the card, big money Missy Gannon. She is scrambling 75% of the time successfully. 6th in Circle 2 putting, 33%, and landing inside the circle 33% of the time to get a putt. Hole 1 is a par 4. It's 565 feet. You're throwing across out of bounds into this fairway. You want to land at least at the corner, but ideally this little birch tree that we just passed is a great spot. And then I think the second shot shapes up a bit better for the sidearm, but the backhand's totally viable. You just want to start off with a nice, easy par, probably just get a look at the very least. I wouldn't call it a gimme, but it is pretty easy if you execute the drive correctly.
Just a 3-stroke lead from Parnu, Estonia. She is the current world champion of disc golf, representing latitude 64. Let's make some noise for Kristin Tattar.
Yeah, this tee shot is all about making a decision. You can bite off a lot and have a pretty simple up and down for birdie, but it is a riskier shot because the fairway slopes downhill from right to left, and if you push straight, you can very quickly find out of bounds deep and be pinched off on your second shot.
Kristin Tattar choosing to go a little bit less aggressive, believe it or not. That was a lucid verdict. She's taking a little bit off, landing next to that tree I mentioned. Beautiful shot.
Doing her very best to chase down Kristin. From the San Antonio, Texas area, she is representing Discraft. Let's give it up for Valerie Mandujano.
This hole really sets up for having that distance forehand on your second shot. It allows you to not have to bite off too much on this first shot because you can get all the way there with your big forehand. The backhand turnover on the second shot is so risky in my opinion.
Very. And this is kind of a typical landing zone that Valerie finds herself in, a little bit shorter, setting up for that distance sidearm that Madison's talking about.
Next on the team from Rosebud, Arkansas. She is representing Innova Champion Discs. Let's show her some love. It's Kat Mertsch.
Kat Mertsch apparently not doing her best to chase down Kristin Tattar. I'm just poking fun at the announcer.
Oh yeah, he picks a lot of interesting facts to state.
It is kind of funny. Kat Mertsch, yeah, early left. Going to be OB. Pretty close to the drop zone. Is it optional? I believe it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's coming to us from Beacon, New York. Representing Team Disc Rap. Let's put your hands together for Missy Gannon.
Oh, dang. Okay. I was on hole 2. Kristin threw an Opto Explorer, so fairway driver. Still disking down just a little bit. Missy is throwing an ESP Thrasher. Duh.
I feel like everyone used to throw distance drivers on
Totally.
this tee shot.
Mm-hmm.
That was the play, and now we see almost nobody throwing distance drivers.
Missy overturns this and pushes that right side. Lands in an okay spot, but definitely a pinched approach coming up here. Oh, this is cool.
New graphics.
Looking at it from the sky, seeing where everybody is. Kat Mertsch likely going to take it from where she went out versus the optional drop zone. We'll see what she decides.
So you can see Missy kind of pinched on the right-hand side of the fairway. The basket is over to the right of those two shadowy-looking trees.
I am surprised to see her not go forehand here.
Me too. But maybe she's just kind of laying something up. Yeah, nothing too aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're going to see a lot of players do on this hole if they're slightly out of position on the tee shot or even just slightly short. Only 9% of the field getting birdies here. That is 3 or 7 out of all of the competitors in the field. All of the stats I'll be talking about today is for the entire field, not just the C pool or the top women's pool. It's comboed with the people that played Fox Run yesterday.
But we got to remember that it was horribly rainy yesterday, so the stats might not be
So they're going to be a little weird.
Friendliest.
Today was weirdly windy. Yesterday was extraordinarily rainy. But all the stats are in one pool regardless
Look
today.
at this flex shot from Kat. What a recovery. Wow.
That distant sidearm comes into play so often at Fox. It's such an important tool to have.
It was an own-like flex. Oh, we should...
The only guardian
Literally,
tree.
there's only the one. We should say that Own did have to DNF for the first time in her career due to an elbow injury, which we saw evidence of yesterday uncovered, so we wish her a speedy recovery. Valerie with a nice, easy pitch up on her third.
50% of the field taking a par here, and you can see these lead card ladies just chipping up very easy shots for their pars. 42% of the field taking a bogey or worse. That largely comes from going OB off the tee and not being able to recover, unlike Kat Mertsch, who threw that great forehand.
That was amazing. Kristin Tattar comes up just a bit short on her birdie putt. It sucks hitting that one tree.
Mm-hmm.
Just the one. Come on.
Nice little putt to start out the round from Valerie Mandujano. So at Brewster Ridge, we had a bunch of changes, too many to even compare to prior years' scores, but Fox Run's been pretty similar. There's been a couple changes for the new layout, but right now the hot round we're comparing it to is a 9 down by Haley King in 2021.
White Pants Haley.
White Pants Haley.
Course
struck
record.
gold. Look at that gallery.
Yeah.
Coming out large and in charge in Vermont.
On a Thursday.
And in the middle of nowhere, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Love to see it.
Hole 2, 250 feet. One of the shortest holes we play all weekend. A nice par 3, but this narrow fairway is what keeps you sharp. there are trees all the way down the right and left-hand side. And if you catch one and kick right, you can find out of bounds very, very easily. It does wrap around behind the basket, and the green slopes towards that out of bounds. So you don't want to come in too hot, or if you catch a tree earlier, you got to really make sure you gauge the speed of your discs landing on the green.
All right, if you haven't already figured it out, this is a lucid verdict.
And the classic rock shot, that is dead center fairway. If you put it low, trying to avoid that big flare skip out of bounds, you're going to hit that rock. Not a bad spot to land. It's what, right outside circle 2?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you see a lot of forehands on this?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's with a little bit of a slower speed disc. I think it's a great play.
Yeah, I think I just generally see backhands. Valerie leaks a little bit left, but makes it through all the trees and should have an easy par at the very least. See if Kat Mertsch can show us the line here.
I guess maybe not a lot of forehands.
Yeah, it's not unheard of, but
yeah.
Wow, that was beautiful.
So good.
Color Glow Champion AVR 3. Picture perfect from Kat Mertsch.
Missy working the left side of that fairway, finding the little bush just past that rock, and that's just where a lot of discs go to land. Leaves a little bit of a tricky approach, but no one's really super worried about landing there. It's just the out of bounds you're worried about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Missy makes quick work of that approach. Kristin just inside circle 2, just laying it up. Valerie looked like a soft run there. All right, Kat Mertsch the first one, putting up some green on her scorecard on our lead card.
Only 14% of the field taking this birdie, even at 250 feet. You almost are kind of still getting warmed up at this point, and
Yeah.
it's a really
Classic simple hole, but not easy.
yeah, or it's a really touchy shot.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that 9 down score, that's the hot round, that absolutely blows my mind. I feel like Fox, there's a lot less birdies that you're gunning for compared to the really FPO friendly layout over at Brewster.
Mm-hmm.
Fox is a lot more difficult, a lot more holes that you're not necessarily banking on getting birdies, a little bit out of reach. So you're more like have the par mentality, I think, on Fox Run.
Absolutely. Like here's a classic example. It's only 300 feet. You can definitely miss that mandatory, but you're not really thinking about it. But you see some people hit those trees that form that gap. There's a drop zone if you miss it, but you're going all the way uphill, and then there are some, fairway trees and trees on the green, and sometimes you feel like you pipe the shot, but then you get a skip downhill, and then there's OB behind it. So hard to get it inside the circle for an easy putt on this one. You see a lot of like circle 2 looks. There's OB all along the right side as well. So it's just like it's not a gimme birdie.
It's a lot of circle 2 looks is what we find.
Mm-hmm.
That right side route that Kat just took is unreal. That there's no reason she should have gotten through all of those trees, and unfortunately that little roll at the end, she'll be out of bounds.
I think she's pin high.
That's a more common mistake or safe play. Not getting super aggressive here.
Yeah, just trying to make the mandatory, make some forward progress.
15% of the field got to circle 1. Almost 40 got to circle 2. So a ton of very sketchy downhill circle 2 putts on this hole.
Valerie gets a good way up there with her Z Avenger SS. Looks like she's in circle 2.
It looked good.
Love the height on this from Missy. And that's like the classic good shot, skip down the hill.
If you're going to error one way, I think it's better to be left like that than it is to be short.
Absolutely.
A little bit safer of a putt. These approaches can get so tough so quickly. Thankfully, Kristin did have a gap. But sometimes you're forced to throw a shot, and the green is so slopey that really difficult to manage
Yeah.
how your disc lands.
You're nervous on the layup.
Yeah. Only 13% of the field taking birdies on this hole, and 36 taking bogeys or worse.
Kat Mertsch, you're right, did progress so far up that right side and has a look to save her par, but she sails over the top of the basket, has at least a 20-foot comebacker, it looks like.
If there was a map of where everyone's discs landed on this hole,
That'd be fun.
if you made the Mando and landed there, I bet she's the only one.
Yep.
That's impossible.
Like everyone and then Kat Mertsch.
She's way on the edge of the bell curve.
That was a great run from Missy over that little twiggy tree.
Cat with a bit of work left for a comeback.
Yeah, that tree's going to make it kind of a... Ooh, I thought she was going to have to anhyzer it, but
Wow.
she kind of just hyzered in right next to the tree.
Those were friendly chains.
Valerie definitely playing the hole kind of how you expect. As did Kristin.
Even though this is only 300 feet, this is one that you're very okay with walking away with a par on.
Yeah.
You're not
Bonus.
feeling like you left one out there. And
Wow,
there's
what
a
joy.
I was going to say the absolute ray of sunshine.
Yep.
Kristin Tattar holding on to her lead. After the long walk to hole 4, we get to this 475-foot two-shot hole. Your first shot has to go over the bushes on the left-hand side and hopefully avoid that bush in the middle of the fairway. Your second shot has to go over this little boardwalk, over another little out-of-bounds area to a slightly elevated basket on a cool little rocky platform. It is two very simple 225 to 250 foot shots if you execute them well, but they are technical, and we did have a pretty intense headwind today, making this first blind shot onto the fairway very difficult. If you turn over your disc too much, you can quickly find out of bounds right. If you don't turn it over enough, out of bounds left comes into play. If you go too far, out of bounds deep is in play as well. The forehand is the absolute best option.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that's such a smart play. The backhand feels like a controlled shank if you
Yes,
do it right.
It does. But don't shank too much because that right side will come into play quickly, especially in this headwind.
And so will this dumb tree.
This dumb tree.
Catches so many discs.
It's kind of the perfect shot, the center cut shot, right where you want to land for your second shot, but
Yeah.
it's very difficult to save birdie from there. I want to say almost impossible.
Yeah, it's pretty dense in there. Missy disking down to a Z swirl buzz. She doesn't quite get enough turn on it, and it fades back into OB. She will have a chance to save par, I believe. I'm not exactly sure where she last crossed.
The forehand is definitely the play if you have it. It is kind of far, though, with how high you have to throw it.
And that's what I kept thinking about, is those branches right there.
Yep.
To get that height. Cat going to be OB, probably taking it on the left side. Missy likely going to take it on the right side, which I believe is a little bit easier.
There's that skinny fairway all the way down the left side that
No one
is
really
there.
uses.
Yeah, no one ever tries it.
Unless, I think Paige Pierce used to throw this line and attack for eagle going
Yep.
all the way up the left side, but that's about it.
Kat trying that line right now, using that headwind to her advantage, but unfortunately, unfortunately,
Yeah.
I wonder if she even crossed on the short side.
I don't. Oh, yeah.
They're giving it to her.
Huh.
Nice friendly look.
And there's the wind. You can hear it.
Yeah, it was
Pretty much
really-
straight headwind.
Yep, really ripping over that hill where the flags are.
This is great trust from Missy. And gets a really good putt for birdie.
It's a pretty technical little backhand hyzer. Those bushes on the right-hand side come into play so fast.
Yeah, it's a very tight line, tighter than it looks. Valerie Mandujano on the nature cam.
She's going for it?
It looks like it does. She definitely was, and then was like, no, be smart.
I really loved the dejected layup. Like, almost a temper tantrum layup. Like,
Oh, fine. Kristin Tattar just doing what she does best, dissecting the hole, throwing a couple forehands. Should be an easy look for birdie.
yeah, this is feels like a must get.
It is. I mean, at under 500 feet on a par 4 does not feel great.
No.
Oh, no. Valerie overshoots it. And that's what? Probably like a 22-foot putt for bogey coming back?
It might be a little farther.
You think
than that.
so?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not sure where that OB line is deep. Something
It's
I
on the
never
rock
even
line.
think about.
It's pretty close. Cat Mertsch gives it a go for a long putt.
Oh, yeah. Looks like you're about right.
That looks awkward.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe closer to 25.
Yeah.
Seemed like Valerie didn't really get her legs involved in the putt with that awkward stance. It comes up a bit short.
Only 27% of the field got this. I feel like the wind really, maybe in the rain yesterday as well, really lowered the birdie count from what we're used to.
Oh, and Missy Gannon obviously saving par because she was OB once again, just struggling with that math. This is a birdie, though.
The first one of Kristin's round. Cat, unfortunately, going to have to settle for a double bogey after a double out of bounds.
Yeah, pretty brutal when you do think this is a must-get. Same thing for Valerie.
There were 29% of the field with a bogey or worse, about a third of them with doubles. So that hole played harder than we ever see.
Yeah, we'll definitely clean it up as we go.
Alex Benson in a
wow.
solo second place, 3 down on the round.
Fantastic. Hole 5, another very difficult par 3. It's 455 feet downhill. You see most women trying to attack this right side gap that the drone is flying. There is OB left and right side. This is just kind of a casual ditch, not trying to do anything too fancy down here. If you can get all the way to it and maybe get a circle 2 look, you are thrilled. But honestly, if you just get past those center trees, or even with the center trees and have an open look for your second shot, you're usually pretty happy. But I bet we're going to watch some big shots right now.
Yeah, this is kind of one of the, in my opinion, worst holes for the FPO layout. It's not very well thought out to highlight any sort of skills.
I think that is the perfect line. Like mildly aggressive, but pretty safe. Gives you a pretty good look at it.
Yeah, landing to the right of that patch of trees. Because once you get in there, it can be really tough to just get up and down, even though it's only another 120 feet.
But yeah, this is kind of a boring
Classic.
hole. And a weird amount of people go through that center gap. That Missy is I think she's caught up a little bit, but she should have somewhat of a line to attack for par.
We had a really gusty head/right to left wind here. It made the hyzer play really scary because you could very easily get pushed out of bounds or flip your disc into OB right. You can see Valerie and Missy both not trying to do anything too crazy here. Kristin kind of with a risky shot, especially with how low she put it.
But I mean, her upshot's going to be way easier. That's my preferred line as well.
But it's a risky shot.
It's riskier
to go there.
But I mean, the problem with all 3 of the other ladies' shots is you fade too much and that OB left comes up quick as well. These are going to be some interesting upshots here. It looks like...
They always are.
Yeah, Cat able to stretch out, but has to go really awkward backhand. Almost looks like a little ultimate toss. I'm not sure if she made it all the way to the circle with that one.
That basket is up on the berm by the lake, and it's very easy to get a rollaway into the water. So everyone's just trying to make sure you error right or at least error soft.
Dang.
There it is.
There it is.
Ugh, hole 5 really just grinds my gears. Missy under the bridge. That's where also a lot of people land.
I know. It's weird how many people land in that tiny gap. She's going to leave it just outside the circle. You can see how difficult this tree makes it. And then Kristin left with a nice, hopefully easy approach. I mean, it's still touchy, but it's short.
And it's a little chancy because it's on that hill, so you have to hope you don't get any sort of roll.
Yeah, that was a perfect play from Kristin.
There were only 2 birdies on the day.
I'm surprised there were any, to be honest.
Yeah, only. I didn't mean to say that. Sai Ananda and Ella Hansen got 2s. I'm wondering how far their putts were.
I bet Ella parked it and Sai made a good putt.
Yep. Missy trying to recover her par. 37% of the field taking a par, 60% taking a bogey or worse.
Man.
A third of that 60% is double bogeys, and that is just how it be on this one.
Yeah.
But look at the view.
It is a gorgeous lake. Honestly, up here on this berm, you can see 5, you can kind of see 6 behind you. You can see 10, 11, 12. Like, it's probably my favorite spectating literally in the entire country.
Yep.
Great place to go watch.
You can also see enormous tadpoles
Yes.
resting on the rocks.
Sure. Man, Kristin with a 7-stroke lead on her card, but Alex Benson with that great 3 down through 9 score so far. Lucky Lorenzen also playing well.
Moving on to another shorty, hole 6. Very technical though. Even at 265 feet, this green can be a little tough to access because it's another kind of controlled shank. A big forehand is definitely the ideal play, but not everyone has it because it is slightly uphill, so it plays a little longer than that 265 mark. There's out of bounds all the way down the left and right side, wrapping behind the slightly elevated basket. And that bush in the middle of the fairway, you either want to throw a turnover past that, kind of a sawed-off turnover, or, like we're going to watch Kristin do, a very controlled distance sidearm.
Yeah, she's going to make this look so easy, I bet. But to be honest, I do think you see more turnover backhands than sidearms, even though obviously if you could do that, you would every time. That was an orbit drive from Kristin.
It was a friendly wind today, though. We had a left to right wind that was just helping discs push into the circle. It's also pretty difficult to go OB right because there's a wall that kind of catches discs. Although I watched Evelina throw over that wall with the sidearm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, I thought that was impossible.
Must be just because of the wind.
Look at Missy just absolutely pinning her backhand.
That's her Big Z Mantis. Very nice. Kat Mertsch, definitely a slightly different style of sidearm than Kristin Tattar, but she gets up there just outside the circle.
This played as the easiest hole of the day. 22% of the field taking birdies, 25 taking bogeys, 50 taking par. I
think we'll see that go up as the conditions continue to improve all week. The courses should dry out and have better footing and everything as well. Valerie looking a little nervous about her.
You throw it and you're like, that was so bad. And then you get up there and you're like, oh, I have a 20-footer.
It's not as bad as hole 4 as far as the controlled shank, but it definitely feels like you got to turn it a little more than you think on the backhand. Kat Mertsch comes up short on her birdie bid.
And you can't get all like fluty with it and like try to hyzer flip something up there. It just, that shot doesn't work. It's got to be almost like a force over. Nice birdie putt from Valerie. Way to bounce back from back-to-back double bogeys.
Kristin now 2 down through 6. Missy absolutely pins it, gets her first birdie of the round, moves back to even par, and continues to just be a ray of sunshine.
At Discraft, we don't wait to see what the future holds. We build it. The future is in your hands.
Hole 7, long par 5, 1,115 feet. I think that's wow, that is far. Okay,
it's so far.
You need to choose to lay up, but most women are going over the ditch on their first shot. There is a new net this year. They did expand the OB on the left side, so it's wider. Second shot, you're pitching up kind of to the Actually, it's a full drive. Second shot, you are driving to the second bubble you see on the screen as far as you can get, as left as you can get. So then it's just a OB carry on your third shot, ideally getting you just the easiest birdie on this 1,115-foot hole.
Ripping right to left crosswind with some headwind swirling in there as well. This tee shot looks easy on camera. It looks like just the biggest gap ever, and Kristin also did make it look very easy. She reaches that first bubble of OB.
And that's like at least 50 feet past kind of the typical landing zone.
Yeah, she probably threw that, 360?
Easily.
And so,
I think more.
And most women are landing in that 330 zone, and unfortunately this year they really pinched off the landing area. It's
just
only,
a bit, the short landing area, but widened it later.
Yeah, it's only about 15 feet just barely across the ditch, so you really have to hit the gap and put some distance on it in order to land safe here.
Missy throws a really good shot. Valerie's is looking decent, challenging that OB a little bit, but I think they definitely widened it quickly, but you're right, they narrowed it initially. They're making you throw a little bit farther.
There's like a little grass spot over there that's perfectly fine. I don't understand why it's not safe. But
Because we need to throw farther. Kat definitely missing her line here. She's going to...
No, there's people that went that direction on purpose.
Okay, I was going to say, so they did open that shot up for sure. I just didn't seem... Either she was way too close to the tree or she was trying to go right side.
Yeah, there are people that are trying to go that left side and turn the disc, but with this wind, I would be surprised. It was not favorable for any sort of hyzer flippiness.
Yeah, a Cat manages to stay in bounds, though. I'm curious if that was the intended line. Love this from Valerie, pushing that right side, getting huge distance, swinging in nicely.
Oh, that's so good. She doesn't really need to be aggressive on the OB line here. Being left does help shorten that third shot, like Erika said earlier, but she got so far straight that's all you really need.
Man, Cat used to land it in a spot that was OB last year by like 30 feet, 40 feet. She's really close to the pin of the next hole where it used to be. I do like this change. I like the net. I guess that farmer over there isn't very friendly, so
no discs
now we can
allowed.
get our discs back. Man, everyone just making this hole look easy. Love to see it.
The camera angle makes it look super wide as well.
It's pretty narrow until
narrow
the bubble, like in between the bubbles.
The bubbles are friendly.
The bubbles. And then the right side, it's funny, that like sweeping right to left, air quotes, fairway that leads to the green, like no one's really using that. Everyone's usually throwing OB. Oh, Kristin rides the right side OB and comes back in at the last second.
And most people are not taking that right side route. They're going out into that bubble on the left side where Missy is right here. So interesting to see the different game plan from Kristin.
Yeah, this shot, how far do you think this is? Like 250 maybe, but plays...
I think it just depends on where you land.
Yeah, how far do you think that was for Missy?
Probably 250, 280.
Yeah, 275.
But it's downhill, so it plays a little shorter.
Plays a little shorter. It's kind of in between like a stable mid-range or like a kind of a slower fairway driver, I think.
Yeah.
Stable fairway driver.
It's so...
It's so easy to go deep like that.
Yeah, it's a really normal mistake. A lot of people finding that deep OB line or the left one.
Because obviously if you go short, you have to rethrow the shot, essentially. So everyone just trying to make sure they at least cross down there.
It is really difficult to, to gauge distances out here at Fox because of all the hills, because of the big mountains in the background. And then coming fresh off Brewster, it's like you kind of lose your depth perception a little bit. So this looks like a really far shot, in my opinion, but then plays a lot shorter than it actually is.
Valerie making that shot look just effortless. Really good angle control on that one. And I think she threw a little bit slower speed than everyone else, it seemed like.
Yeah, it landed nice and soft. This played as the second most difficult hole of the day, with 60% of the field taking bogey or worse, a third bogeys, a third doubles, and a third triples. Oof. So, wow. Yeah,
you get one OB, and even saving bogey can be really tough. Kat Mertsch comes up short on her par save attempt. Here's Missy Gannon for a birdie.
Wow.
Hands it.
Huge. She wants it.
Yeah, that's the way to build momentum, too.
Only 13% of the field taking birdies. When 60% of the field is bogeying this one, that feels great.
As nice as it is to see Missy happy, do you ever think, I'll never be that happy?
Well, then you talk to Missy and she's like, oh, it's just like my default. Even if I'm sad or angry, I just do that to cover everything up. So we never know.
What seems to work for her.
Yep.
Kristin Tattar with a no-nonsense birdie. Well, I guess actually, there was some nonsense. She was OB for a lot of that hole. Just kidding. Valerie Mandujano good for her birdie. 3 out of 4 is really good on this hole.
And what a great recovery from back-to-back doubles to getting 2 birdies in a row on difficult holes. More Cat Mertsch reaction cams.
Yeah, Cat Mertsch struggling, +4, Valerie's +2, but getting those 2 birdies, like Mad said. Missy Gannon 1 down, Kristin Tattar 3 down.
This is a new hole this year, 300 feet, plays like 380. I'm just kidding, that's dramatic. But it
340.
It plays far. It's a big turnover shot. Maybe we'll see people throw sidearms, but it requires a lot of power. And if you err short, you can very quickly find that out of bounds line in the woods line. Not a lot to worry about on the left side. There is an OB line over there, but you're not really going to find it unless you really don't turn your disc over and hyzer out, which is something that can happen.
If power sidearm player Kristin Tattar is throwing backhand here, that makes me feel like it's not actually a forehand. And you can see how short she comes up. I mean, she'll have a putt for birdie, but it does just play much more uphill than it looks, and you have to turn it so far to the right.
It's was a left to right crosswind here, so a favorable wind for the hole, but also made you feel a little crazy because you're like, oh, what's going to happen here? We never got to practice in this wind.
That looks amazing.
Wow.
Missy Gannon throwing her ESP Thrasher. Love the height.
Big distance, Missy.
I think she just got it high enough in the air, and then that wind definitely helped her push her disc over. That's so perfect.
Man.
Best drive I've seen on this new hole by far.
Only 18% of the field getting into circle 1, whereas 45 got to circle 2.
That looks good too. From Valerie, Z Avenger SS.
Oof.
I think she's in.
Yeah, that short side comes up so fast.
It does.
It's a great shot. It's just, whoopsie. Cat a little lower and more linear. She'll be right around.
Oh, she's inside the circle too. Halo Hawkeye.
Look at how much power she has.
Oh, I don't. But I did think it was going to fade kind of right at the edge of the circle. Man, everyone with some really solid shots here. Kristin up first outside the circle for her birdie look. It's to go 3 in a row.
There are not going to be a lot of turkeys out here on Fox.
Was she outside or was she just inside?
I thought she was just inside.
Okay. Circle's edge putt, we'll call it. Nice turkey.
Everyone else inside the circle as well. Now just looking at getting big putted.
It looks like Valerie's outside. So
it does.
So yeah, Kristin was outside. She just always makes it look like she's inside because she doesn't even jump.
I thought I saw her land inside the tassel, but it's really tough to see them on this green grass.
Valerie hits cage on her birdie attempt. Cat Mertsch in.
Great birdie. Only 12% of the field getting it. That's 9 competitors out of the 48 we have at Worlds.
78.
78, sorry. Big difference.
Super big difference. I don't know where that number came from, but it's wildly wrong.
Oh, it's from Declo.
What a putt from Kristin Tattar. She goes to 4 down. Missy Gannon now solo second place over Alex Benson, who's still 3 down. Valerie Mandujano hanging on to 4th. And rounding it out with hole 9. Interesting shot. It's downhill, OB, left and right side, kind of bubbles out towards the end. You see a lot of women throw kind of towards the right side and just try to break kind of at the last second and start to hyzer towards the pin. A lot of women are going to, err by hyzering out a little early, kind of towards that side hill where it bubbles towards the OB and land maybe in circle 2. This is not one you're thinking about parking. It's definitely a bonus birdie. What was the wind doing here?
It wasn't so bad down on the green, but from the tee pad, it felt like a right to left crosswind.
And this is exactly what I was saying, right at the trees, trying to get it to break at just the right moment. It's kind of a sketchy feeling shot.
Yeah, so this is a hole, like Erika said, that not a lot of people are gunning for the birdie. A lot of people are just going to play it safe and just keep it in bounds, pitch up, and take their par. We will see a very low birdie count here. We always do. Didn't want to say anything too early because I felt like everyone was going to make me look dumb and just park them. They were all just going to park them.
Right, right, as they do. Missy, this is kind of that bailout play I was talking. You definitely have to get a little bit of a friendly roll from the side hill if you're pushing that far left, and Missy's happy to be in bounds.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot over there that they just roll right back in.
Mm-hmm. Cat not happy with that one, turning it way too far to the right. Never had a chance, really.
Thanks to the spotter on this hole, doing work, getting people's discs back in one of the deepest gullies.
It is crazy down there. I have spent some time down there.
Yeah.
I got lost in a different world. I think I saw some cartoons.
Yeah. Definitely a family of gnomes.
Yes. Look at this from Valerie. That is a Z cicada. I don't know what that is, but it looks pretty dang cool.
New. I think it's new. I'm guessing fairway. Super guess.
That was awesome.
Only 5 people landed inside the circle, and 32 landed in circle 2. You can see where everyone's putting from. You want to be careful on this putting surface. If you skip past and land behind that big glacial erratic on the green, you can have no comeback putt. So you got to be really careful here, not do a super hard bid like we see Valerie doing, because she has no fear.
She doesn't. Yeah, no fear of the rock, as some of us call it.
Missy, after rolling back in, nice and safe.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Might as well just take advantage. Ooh, what's a regional bird?
Ooh.
Just think about it.
Let me think. I haven't paid attention that much this week to birds.
Okay, we're going to call this one...
I can call it some sort of mushroom.
I was going to say, well, let's just call it the 4 in a row is a maple syrup this week.
I love that. Only 6% of the field taking birdies. 5 competitors got to circle 1, 5 birdies on the day. That's more than I was expecting. That's a great one to get.
Yeah, congrats to Missy, really putting it together kind of in that final stretch of the front 9 there.
Valerie Mandujano holding on to the 3rd place right now. Allie Smith jumping up into a tie for 3rd with Maria Oliva as well.
Who's 4 down.
Wow. Under par is going to move you up some spots out at Fox Run. It always does. You can see everyone in that top 10 area is around even par or 1 under or over. Then as we move down the leaderboard, you see the bogeys start stacking up. And we were right. Yeah, this is the type of course where pars are good.
Yep.
You don't need to play super aggressive. I wasn't sure how I would play this year because everyone's getting so much better so fast.
Still hard, turns out.
Yep. The back 9 gets even harder as well, so come hang with us. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the 2 Hot Geese.
Honk.